So Prey is one of the big new systems of Midnight that has a ridiculous amount of potential cosmetic rewards you can earn from it, from a suite of really cool looking weapons to full armor sets for every armor type that are of raid tier quality, of some additional miscellaneous transmog items, to a handful of different profession recipes, to some pets, toys, and mounts, and then to a couple dozen different decor items for the housing system. But if you're looking to get any of these cosmetic items, you may have realized when you go check their prices that it's going to take a long time to farm the currency to actually buy these, especially if you're into housing, because these decor items are quite expensive, and if you want to get multiple of them, you're just going to be multiplying the price. So if you're just playing the system normally, it'll take you a long time to farm with the currency for this, but there's actually a method that may be unintended that allows you to farm thousands and thousands of this currency per hour on legitimately any character. In fact, you're going to be doing a lot less combat than you would normally be doing in one of these Prey runs. Now, a small disclaimer, this is going to be the pre-season version of this guide, because once we get into season 1, we do have nightmare mode unlocking, which will allow you to get even more rewards from the system. Presumably, you'll get even more of the currency for this, which is remnants of anguish, because nightmare mode is supposed to be a lot more difficult. Presumably, there'll just be a lot more rewards. But it also seems when the season starts, there's also going to be these rune items that can drop in these Prey runs from any difficulty that you can turn in for a bunch of different rewards, which includes things like the Voidlight Marl, coffer key shards, different crests for whatever difficulty, but you can also trade them in for remnants of anguish. So if you've gotten any other rewards you want, you could definitely get a lot more currency just by doing these runs once season 1 is started. And I'm pretty sure getting these runes will actually be part of the renown track for Prey, which is limited right now, which is why you can't get those. And speaking of the renown track for Prey, there's two pretty big upgrades that will pertain to this farm in the long run. The first one is a rank 2, which you can get right now, which after you complete a Prey run, it spawns a portal to go back to the Prey table, which is just a massive time saver. The second thing is at, I think, at rank 7, which will give you a 20% increase to how much remnants of anguish you actually obtain. So as you keep doing this and then get up to rank 7 once season 1 is started, you'll just get a lot more of this, which will allow you to buy the cosmetics much more quickly. Now, the method we're going to be going over in this video is not only good for farming this currency, but it's also essentially the fastest way to complete these Prey runs. I thought just doing Prey runs normally getting like 6-minute runs was good, but doing this method, if you're also trying to complete the Prey run as quickly as possible, you can get these down to like 4 minutes or even faster. I was doing it on a tank, so if I was doing it on a DPS spec, I could probably get it done in like 3 minutes, maybe down to 2 if you're incredibly fast, but that'll probably be hard. So 4 minutes is probably going to be a more average time if you're a little bit geared. So that will just be on top of farming this currency. And also, the method we're going over in this can be done in any Prey run, no matter what it is. If you don't know how the Prey system works, you'll be able to do, I think, 4 different Prey runs of every difficulty once per week on that character, and that will give a bit of different rewards compared to the randomized Prey runs, which you unlock at rank 2. So you can essentially go pay 50 of this currency to get a random Prey run of whatever difficulty you want, and that will be in any random zone, and you can go do this farm the exact same way, of which either one of those you want. But I would generally recommend you go and complete all of the normal Prey runs you can do for that week first, just because that'll give a little bit more rewards that aren't this currency we're actually farming. So a little bit long-winded of an intro, but now we can get into the farm itself, and it's significantly more simple than you actually think it is. So once you start a Prey run and go to that zone, there will always be a Prey world quest that you could go complete. There's always one of them. It'll either be to defeat enemies or click on some of these pylons or follow around the boss and do some damage to him. It's a pretty simple world quest, but within that world quest area and within a pretty large area around it, you can find these Prey traps that'll be spawning absolutely everywhere. And these are going to be our key for farming a ton of this currency pretty quickly. Now, the first big tip is to go get black inky potions. You can get these from the auction house for like 3 gold a piece, and they last for 2 hours. All this does is it makes anywhere you go in the game essentially nighttime. It may actually be slightly darker than nighttime. And on a side note, every zone in the War Within, it looks so cool with this inky black potion equipped. But once you've used this potion, since it's so much darker, things that glow will be much more noticeable. So clicking on these traps and then clicking on the items that give you the currency afterwards glow and are a lot easier to see. So that'll just make the farm more easy. Now, the main thing you're going to be doing once you get into this world quest area is you're looking for all of these traps, and all you're going to be doing is walking over them. You could stay mounted for this. You walk over the traps, it will trigger the trap, usually do a little bit of damage to you, but it won't give you any hunt progress when you just trigger the trap by stepping on it. It will always drop one of the blood orbs you could go gather, which will give you some of these remnants of anguish, which is the main currency we're looking for. It can give, I think, 5 to 10. That may go up as you get into higher difficulties, but I'm not certain on that. But the most important part of this is you can essentially just do a big lap around and keep track of where you're going, just stepping on all of the traps, and those blood orbs will stay there for a decent chunk of time. From my testing, I think it's like 4 to 5 minutes where these blood orbs will just stay on the ground. Even if you go far away from them and come back, if you're within a certain time frame, they will still be there. And as I just mentioned, walking on the trap does not give you hunt progress. Only picking up the blood orb does. So what you can essentially do is complete the world quest in this area, then go do a big route of stepping on every trap you come across. Once you've gotten back to the start, you're then just going to go through that route you took and collect every single one of these blood orbs, which will always give you 5 to 10 or more, if you're in higher difficulties, of the remnants of anguish, main currency for this system. And besides just guaranteeing you get currency from every single one of these traps, which does not happen if you disarm them, these blood orbs will also stay spawned in if you already completed that portion of the prey run and can go defeat the boss. So let's say you go and trigger like 24 of these traps and you start collecting all the orbs, and halfway through you complete the objective, and now you have the world quest to go defeat the prey boss at the end. Well, when that happens, all of the traps disappear. They're no longer there for you, but you already went and triggered all of them, so all of the blood orbs that stay spawned in will still be there. So if you do it fast enough, you could potentially double the amount of anguish you could normally be getting just triggering the traps one by one and looting them all. And on top of that, usually if you're doing these prey runs and not doing this, you're trying to disarm all of the traps, because disarming a trap will always give you hunt progress, and other things can spawn after you disabled the trap normally. So if you disarm the traps normally, it can still spawn the blood orbs sometimes, which you then click on, which will give you more hunt progress. It can spawn enemies, which will give you more hunt progress. The boss can even ambush you, which will give you more hunt progress. So normally, to complete the hunt as quickly as possible, or so you may think, it will just be to disarm them. But again, that gives you hunt progress as you go through. So what you want to do to get as much of this currency and still complete the runs quickly is just walk over all of them, trigger them, do a big route, come back and loot all of the blood orbs. This will guarantee every trap gives you currency, and again, you can keep collecting the currency after you already got to the part of going and defeating the boss, which can just give you more currency than you could normally get. And this is where I think this may be unintended, that the blood orbs stay there. And that's realistically the main thing you're going to be doing for this farm. And what's really nice about this is you can do it on any character that can be in the Midnight expansion. You can go do this on characters you're leveling up, and you will always get a little bit more than a quest completion of experience by completing that prey run, because you'll always get that quest completion at the end, no matter if you're doing random hunts or your normal hunts that are weekly limited. On top of that, that world quest that you're doing, if you do that on any character that's not max level, it is like a normal world quest that will give you experience like it's a normal world quest. So if you're farming for this currency, you want to keep leveling up characters, I would recommend actually doing this on non-max level characters. It could also even be faster, because once you're going through and collecting all the blood orbs, there will usually be enemies around, so a lot of time you have to stop and defeat enemies or just run away to the next blood orb. I'm not actually sure if druids can collect blood orbs in their flight form or not, so that may be faster, but you could just keep going and doing this on other non-level characters and keep getting the same amounts of currency while leveling up a character, so you can do 2 birds with 1 stone. Now, on top of all of this, there is some additional currency you can get. First off, I think the first handful of kills of the prey bosses per account per week give you 200 of this currency. I couldn't find anywhere where it said how limited this was. Just the first handful of boss kills I did on my first character of the week gave me 200 additional remnants of anguish for defeating the boss. I went and tried tried all the different difficulties I could, all the different modes. I went and tried doing this on alt. After your first handful of kills, you won't get that 200 from the final boss anymore. So that could be an additional chunk of this currency per week. And then on top of that, if you are doing the randomized prey runs, it'll cost you 50 remnants of anguish to start a random prey run, and if you complete it on normal difficulty, you can choose between a couple different rewards, one of which will be more remnants of anguish, but on normal difficulty it just gives you your 50 remnants back if you choose that. On hard difficulty it gives you 60, so you get 10 additional, which isn't much. My assumption is that once we get nightmare mode, you'll probably get even more remnants of anguish, but as of right now, when you're doing your random prey runs, just do it on normal difficulty. I don't think there's a big reason to do it on hard mode right now. So that's the entirety of this farm. It's quite simple. You will complete a lot of prey runs. So on top of this, once we start season 1, you'll actually just be getting a lot of prey renown. You'll probably be able to max it out pretty quickly. This is just seeming to be the absolute best way in which you could farm remnants of anguish to go farm any of the cosmetic items you want from the prey system. But that's all I want to go over. So thanks for watching.